losers bracket, and you can still come back by any means. But we'll set you up perhaps in a little bit better of a situation. But we'll see what happens. It looks like the countdown has started to trail off, but the most important question is, are you ready?
I am more than ready. I really actually do hope this goes to a Game 3 so we can see some more action, but we'll see. TDM's looking really, really strong lately, so we'll have to wait and see.
They have been, as they did in game number 1. So with that said, guys, get excited because game number 2 is upon us. Let's go ahead and jump into the game here for Heroes of New Earth. We have TT Esports on the Legion side, Trademark Esports on the Hellborn side. Again, TDM, of course, up 1-0 here in this best-out-of-3 series. So the blind band phase, TDM is already good to go. They took care of, I think it was actually Keeper of the Forest last game even. But they're going to go with, once again, Keeper of the Forest and Tundra here. However, for TT Esports, they go with Ophelia and Faye. Now, a hero that you talked about was Wild Soul. Was blind banned last time by TT Esports. This time around, though, they're going to go ahead and pass up banning him, but in fact, you already see a right click over there, and sure enough, there we go. Wild Soul and Pebbles are the first 2 locks coming out here for TDM, as TePS was the first lock, though, for TT Esports.
Yeah, I think it's kind of scary to give TDM Wild Soul, honestly. It just works in their lineup so well. They also run Pebbles quite frequently at the same time.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, they do go ahead and lock up Pebbles and Wild Soul. TePS is locked from Slicks. And yeah, the blind bands, Ophelia, Fade, Keeper of the Forest, and Tundra. Nothing too out of the ordinary right there. Fade is a hero, again, that's been seeing a lot of popularity lately. It's so strong, just giving that massive map control with the ultimate. And yeah, there's no question that teams have been picking up on that. But there's Tremble and Balfagor, so some interesting locks coming out from Slicks. Normally we see the trolling locks happen from the Hellborn side, if anything.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they do go for some interesting locks right there.
Well, yeah, and the reason for that is very obvious, because if you do it as a Legion side, you only get the 1 guaranteed first pick. You're giving 2 to Trademark Esports, and with the first 3 heroes alone, and see, you see right there, there's Gemini with the final lock. So you look at this pool, and you can say the first 3 heroes, there's a lot of potential for them. The next 3 heroes, it's very iffy. Now, not to say they're bad heroes by any means, but they are very, very situational, and especially a hero like Tremble, it seems like it's very niche. Only a couple of players like to play him. Of course, Kazu's definitely a player that comes to mind recently, but he ain't playing in this game. So very risky move there by Slicks, and it's going to be interesting to see how it pays off. Now, it does make me wonder a little. I will say, there was a scrim recently where I remember watching them where they were in a very aggressive push lineup, and it did include a hero like Balfagor.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder a little bit if that wasn't necessarily a full-on troll ban by any means.
There's a Demented Shaman ban coming out, and one thing I wanted to note is that if you do have a strategy in mind with a hero that doesn't see much play, something like a Balfagor, maybe something like a Gunblade now, if you have a lineup surrounding that hero, it's very easy to be like, just to play it off as like, well, we're just going to throw some troll bans out there, and then kind of take them as a surprise, actually have a lineup that includes that hero going into the match. So maybe going into this, you're like, we know we want to run Balfagor. We've been trying him. He's actually much better than people think he is. We want to run him. So we're going to lock him in with another kind of trollish style hero with Tremble, and then, Minus is like, all right, well, we'll just take, if you take TePS first, we'll take Wild Soul Pebbles, no problem. And then, haha, you have to deal with Tremble, Balfagor, and Gemini.
Yeah.
But then they're like, haha, we turn it on you. We
like
actually, we want to run Balfagor, so the joke's on you, buddy.
Yeah.
So there's some validity to that. But anyway, as I ranted there, the rest of the bans are Polywog, Demented Shaman, Draconis, Torturer, the Dark Lady, and then finally Jerizai, and then a first pick of Glacius coming out for Slicks.
Yeah, to kind of stress that a little bit further, again, the reason why Balfagor could be a likely pickup is because of a very aggressive push-style lineup, but with Keeper of the Forest especially being blind ban off the beginning, and then as you talked about Demented Shaman, the first ban coming out from Trademark Esports in the regular banning phase, something tells me one thing that TDM, is very aware of that possibility, and they're making sure not to give TT Esports at least all the weapons if they do choose to do that. But yeah, so I really am curious to see what that you would think is going to be that final lock pick here from TT Esports. But anyways, as you mentioned, the regular first pick was Glacius. That's followed by a Silhouette Aluna. Excuse me, they're over there from Trademark Esports, and this is kind of going off the assumption, or at least what I'm sure TDM would like to see, is picking up that Wild Soul as well. So you can kind of almost safely assume that they are going to pick up Wild Soul with their lineup. Of course, Umsai, again, plays a fantastic Wild Soul, and they just love to run it so much. So you can even add in that hero as kind of the 3 out of the 5 heroes that they already have. Obviously if TT Esports doesn't first pick it themselves, but with both Pebbles and TePS as options, I find it a little bit hard to believe that that would be the case. But, you know, you still got an M4 up there as well, so this is going to be interesting with these 2 final regular picks. Of course, this is going to let us know if they do want to run more of a push style lineup, maybe something like a Forsaken Archer, and then, I mean, I don't even know where you'd go from there, but another just very aggressive hero, something like a Rhapsody, kind of really throw you off. But Plague Rider Meraxis, so not necessarily are going to be the follow-up picks here for TT Esports.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to guess Legionnaire will be picked up by tdM. I'm just going to throw that out there. But anyway, let's see if my spidey senses
Inside information, huh?
Well, no. Just the way that they set up their lanes.
Yeah.
And the way that the locks are. I don't want to digress too much because if I'm wrong, it'll make me look stupid. But anyway, I'm expecting a jungler, and I'm expecting specifically Legionnaire. But we'll see. Anyway, Plague Rider Meraxis. Very, very strong there, and there's the Suicide Laner as Bubbles, although they can run that in a different style lane. But, yep, there's the Bubbles, and that's a safe route because you don't know which of those 3 heroes that TT Esports is going to take, being the Tempest, being that Pebbles, being that Wild Soul, and they do go with the Tempest. And so I think snap picks are going to be that Wild Soul and
it's going to be Wild Soul Pebbles. It's going to be Balfagor. I mean, I think that it just fits so well when it comes to synergy. I guess if they could go a Trumbull route maybe for more carry potential. I just think Balfagor, it makes so much sense here when you look at that lineup overall. The lanes can definitely make sense. Yeah, so the lock picking state, I mean, it ended up working out fairly quickly there, as you talked about even some snap picks happening, but we are going to see a Balfagor. That's the cool thing here. I don't think it's going to necessarily be in a crazy push lineup by any means, because other than, they got a Tempest on top of it. So there is actually a decent amount of push potential that I'm looking over here. And we get to see, it's not only Balfagor, but it's the what is that called? Garbagor. Yeah, it's Garbage Day or something like that. That's what he said. I love the ultimate cast of that. So, well, we get to see Moravius play some Garbagor here.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be really fun. One interesting thing to note is while tdM does pick up Wild Soul, it's actually going to be played by my Nuts, not Zai. Zai will be played in that Suicide role as he always does, but normally he does play that Wild Soul. And it's because this is why I feel like a jungler would have been stronger. They could have picked a jungler as well as still having that Suicide Wild Soul and then having that solo top as Silhouette. That was their style. That seems to be their style as of late, but unfortunately they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to work with what they have. That's the nature of lockpick. And they're going to have that jungle Wild Soul, arguably much weaker than a Suicide Lane Wild Soul. That's where I feel like he's really put to the best use. But anyway, talked enough about tdM's lineup. I'm going to, as you mentioned, Garbagor is picked up specifically from being played by Moravius. I love the hero. I think he actually is much better than people think he is. He has actually a lot of regen as well. What is the spell? Is it the thing that picks up the corpses? It's
the corpse conversion, right? That's the one that picks up the corpses, yeah.
Yes, that actually, I feel like that actually regens his life. One of his spells, I don't know the hero too well, but one of those spells regens his life, and so he can stay at full life very, very easily. And it's very easy to take harassment, say, from this bubble. So in this lane, he should just pound on Balfagor over and over, but he's going to be fine because he's going to have lots of regen. Now in the top lane, going to have a Suicide play being played by Leon Black. And then other lanes to be shaping up. We're going to have a Glacius, Meraxis mid, and then Tempest actually will be in the jungle. So I really, really actually like the lineup that TD Sports has.
Yeah, and on top of that, as I was kind of talking about a little bit, it's not going to be your crazy just all-out push lineup by any means, but there is a lot of push potential still here on the Legion side, specifically between Balfagor and Tempest, and at least I think what's going to be the case, we're going to see Tempest in that passive jungle in the Legion jungle here. As soon as he gets that Ring of Sorcery, perhaps, he just comes over to this lane, kind of like a Keeper of the Forest does from time to time, and they just start pushing together, and it could be very difficult to stop both the minions of Balfagor and Tempest, as well as the heroes if they choose to do that, sooner than later. So I'm really interested to see if TT Esports takes advantage of that earlier on in this game because, those are 2 heroes. And as you said, especially with a hero like Balfagor who has that constant regen because of the corpse conversion ability and the fact that he can regurgitate to put corpses down to even heal himself up once again. Very, very powerful synergy there. Looks like we're going to be coming out of the pause, though. So here we go. What is game number 2 between Trademark Esports and TT Esports? Of course, as you can see on your screen, with Trademark up 1-0. But he also talked about Zai is not playing Wild Soul. He's instead playing Bubbles in the Suicide Lane. We do got My Nuts on Wild Soul here, and he's going to be playing that jungling Wild Soul. So you like to see him, prefer to see him in that suicide role if possible, but he is in the jungle role instead. But we'll still keep an eye on his farm to see how it progresses. Plague Rider is up here looking to get a Ward of Sight down. He's using the Courier to scout things out, and as you can see on the minimap, really not too much danger ahead. So Leon Black will be able to get it down, and a very successful block coming out from him right there. At the bottom line, look at Boo Boo all the way down here.
Hiding.
I guess he's going to look to do a pull right here.
I think he is, but it's not really going to be the biggest deal because it's going to be a solo versus solo down here. So, if anything, that I guess that's going to help Bubbles get some free farm and free CS if he does it properly. But it's not the the end of the world for Balfagor.
It's one of those things, though. If you're a wild, you just might as well do it because I mean, what else are you going to be doing in the time? So, any even as slight advantage as it may be in this case, might as well take advantage of it. But
I think it's mostly maybe they don't know. If it's a dual lane, I'd say all for it. You should always do it against a dual lane if you have the opportunity to. But yeah, again, it's still going to help out a little bit. It's going to help Bubbles basically get some free CS. The only thing is if he does keep the bear down there for a longer period of time to where Bubbles can get those free CS, he's not going to have that to farm in the jungle with. So we'll have to wait and see what he does. There he goes. He does pull the creeps. The Garbagor is going to have to actually. I think he should know that he's not going to be able to tank this forever because he's not going to ever have a creep wave. So yeah,
he has to be a little bit careful. He's
himself.
keeping Wild Soul occupied with Boob. I'll say that much. But no, he finally despawns it right there, and now he's going to run up to the creep wave actually. So yeah, Balfagor, very interesting decision here.
I don't know. What he should have done is just pulled them all the way past the tower and met the creep wave way back here behind the tower, about 1,000 yards behind it. Oh. But he does do some do-si-do in there.
This is an interesting bottom lane. Each hero has their own kind of creep wave to deal with because of what happened there. Yeah, funny, but
he does take a little bit of damage, but it's not the end of the world. He eats a tree, and he will, like I said, regenerate a little bit from eating those corpses. Anyway, other lanes to be talked about. Miraculous Glacius in the mid, against some Luna Pebbles in the mid as well. That's going to be an interesting lane composition because I feel like both of those lanes are very, very strong. They're quite even, to be honest. So either one of the supports, if they get caught, they could be in a lot of trouble. I actually favor Pebbles Luna just a little bit more. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that makes up. Tempest in the jungler again Again, he's going to have a great time when you compare it to Wild Soul. He does definitely farm a lot faster than Wild Soul. And then Plague Rider up top against this Silhouette. I actually feel like Silhouette has a little bit of advantage against the Plague Rider. Plague Rider can do fine. He has to constantly keep nuking, but being in the safe lane for Silhouette does have a natural advantage. So.
Yeah, Plague Rider, of course, being played by Leon Black. You see the positioning of the creep wave, and of course, definitely looking pretty good for him. But you see right there, talking about constantly nuking. He puts the harassment onto Silhouette, but harassment coming up from Silhouette in the meantime herself, and they're going to go for a kill right here. Contagion in 2 seconds. Will it even matter? Oh, it will matter. Silhouette picks up the Bloodlust kill. Wow, that is the power of the Relentless Salvo right there, adding up on Plague Rider, and just became too much to deal with. That was literally a second from a Contagion nuke that would have no doubt killed Silhouette, but Silhouette gets a Bloodless kill. And okay, so she already had an advantage, as you put it, but what about that right there? I mean, that just completely wins the lane now for Silhouette, I would think.
That was just, I wouldn't even say that was a risky play by Noob G. I just think that was a calculated play, honestly. He knew the Contagion cooldown nuke. He knew that it was going to be enough time for him to keep manning up before that play could actually cast it again. And he knew that he would win the auto attack race. So really, really well calculated there by Noob G. I'm just very, very impressed by him.
Yeah, so very, very good job indeed. And once again, we talked about Noob G in the mid game there, or between the two games, obviously in game number 1, and just continues to surprise us more and more as far as his success rate. So doing a very good job there at the top lane. Balfagor in the meantime at the bottom lane, again harassing Bubbles as you would expect, especially with the corpses out. And you just see how quick they are. And to think that those got nerfed, I believe. So it was a while back now, obviously, but I think that those were even that much more powerful. It's just pretty crazy to me. But anyways, we do see us down here in the middle lane on Miraxis taking a little bit of pressure. That Parathon on top of that. Can Pebbles get that check? No, he cannot. He was trying to get close enough, but excellent job by Glacius with the Tundra Blast, slowing him down and keeping Miraxis alive. And Miraxis is going to use those bottle charges, and Slicks will now be more than fine. But you see the potential that, especially that Luna Pebbles combination has, even on Miraxis. They'll take whoever they can get, and just not enough for the kill, though.
Well, I was going to say, right prior to that, actually, Slicks just stunned the ground. Like, he stunned the creeps to farm. And so they knew that he didn't have a stun available, and then they took that opportunity to try to get a kill on him. But yeah, I was going to even say that it kind of looked like he was maybe lagging. Slick's being a little bit. He is pinging about 200 and, well, 250, so it's not horrible. I mean, yes, it does make a difference, but yeah, so that was kind of an interesting use of that stun coming out from Slicks, but nonetheless, nothing's going to happen with it. But anyway, top lane, yeah, the Silhouette is going to have a great time. Now has massive amounts of regen against this Plague. He does pick up that life tube, so basically he can just keep auto-attacking, harassing this Plague very, very often. And Plague's going to be in a world of hurt after that first blood.
Yeah. Yeah, again, big news, but, kind of a odd, not an oddball here, but a hero that just to really keep in mind is this Tempest, as it was the last game, he proved to be the big factor in tdM success, of course, being played by my nuts. This time around, being played by White here for TT Esports, and he is off to a very good start, as you would expect. It looks like he's level 5, and I think he's just close enough to a Ring of Sorcery, but while I'm worrying about Tempest and how his farm's doing in the bottom lane, Bubbles gets a kill down here onto Balfagor by himself. And that's kind of the last thing I would have expected to happen, so which is why I wasn't even bothering going down there. But wow, Bubbles playing aggressive and gets a solo kill on a Balfagor.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you play it right, you understand the matchup, you understand what you have to do, and that's you simply have to harass, constantly right-click that hero. But with a hero like Balfagor with massive amounts of regen, again, I almost want to say, does it stem back to him using the regen and being half HP right, at the very beginning? Maybe it does. Maybe he used too much regen and didn't have enough available and felt like he had to still, stay in the lane to get CS, and ultimately Bubbles took the kill on him. So every little bit matters, but nonetheless, good job by Zai getting that kill. That's a huge kill. Getting a kill against the Suicide Plague, that's already big enough, it was first blood.
Yeah.
But then getting a kill when you're the Suicide on that short lane hero, being a tanky hero like Balfagor, yeah, that's a really, really bad start here coming out for TT Esports.
Yeah, so it's a case that, where TT Esports, it could have been, just fine for them overall, but instead both the bottom and the top lane are definitely being won here now by Trademark Esports. You look at MSI being harassed heavily by these minions yet again for Balfagor, but in the end, he'll be more than fine, and Balfagor just going to continue farming the creep. He's still level 5 compared to that level 7 Bubbles now. And, so that goes to give you another idea of what we're looking at here in this matchup. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Stalagmites will hit Glacius right there, but Glacius was way too far away for anything to happen. You look at Miraxis running in, puts a stop on it. Pebbles are going to go for a kill. The freeze comes out. In comes Bubbles, though, and Pebbles says, get the hell off me. The Kelpfield stun also happens because of that, and down goes Miraxis. I don't know if that synergy was planned necessarily between the Kelpfield and the Chuck, but it worked out beautiful there for tdM. And Bubbles, man, I mean, he got the silicone of Balfagor. He comes to the middle lane. Perfect timing, it seems like. Things are working out great here, but this is what I talked about from the beginning. Balfagor and Tempest, they're going to group up now and do a mass push here at this bottom lane. I find it difficult that this, or hard to believe even, that the Hellborn team is going to even look to stop this. I mean, the tower is just going to drop so quickly as we see right here. I mean, just look at how fast it's dropping. Unless they react now, it's not going to happen. Bubbles, can he get the deny? Oh, nice attempt right there, but just not enough. Bubbles taking some regurgitate harassment, but we'll be fine. So at least some good news there for TT Esports to get the early tower kill.
They do get the early tower kill and some harassment. And again, Bubbles getting a lot of CS using those Shell Surf on all those elementals and minions and what have you. But yeah, that was a really funny exchange to watch there in the mid. Just good overall team support coming out from tdM, specifically Zai. Yeah. Got that Kelp Field ability after getting that easy kill. Well, I should say easy, I didn't really see it, but getting that kill on Moravis, he used that that ability right away on mid, so making the best use of Bubbles possible. Yeah,
it's very, very, very good job there, of course, for tdM, really, but TT Esports again a positive there with the tower kill. Now, I'm looking at, constant going back to looking at the bigger picture there. You look at this Legion team, and they didn't draft really a go-to carry hero, so this is definitely more of a style of a team that they're about the early game aggression and going into that mid-game dominance, especially when it comes to team fights. That's where they really shine, of course, as literally every single hero brings something powerful to the table in these team fights, with Glacius, Plague Rudder, Balfagor, Miraxis, and of course Tempest on top of that. So that's definitely where they can shine, and by all means why, despite an early lead here, you can argue for tdM, or you can safely argue even, it's not necessarily the end of the world for TT Esports, but you do have a Silhouette top of the farm on our team at least, sitting at 327 gold per minute, pretty comfortable here. Tempest, though, White is leading the way overall. Obviously, a tower kill has a lot to do with that, but 346 gold per minute, and he's going back to base right now, actually, to... No, he's actually pointing at the top lane, excuse me. They were going to set up a kill on a Silhouette. Silhouette may need to be a little bit careful here. There goes the freeze, going to come out. Yes, there's a freeze. Can he trigger all the way in time? The Plague is even going to be his, but the final out attack comes out, and down goes Silhouette. So they committed a lot there to getting the kill. And they got the kill in the end.
Bottom
so
lane.
Well played. Bottom lane now. Balfagor chasing. Killfield was suddenly placed though. But the minions, nice job with the Song of the Sea nuke from Bubbles though to kill the minions just before they attacked him down. So he'll barely survive. Zai continues to do a pretty solid job. But Balfagor is showing that he's starting to get a little scary now himself too.
I mean, this hero's a beast, man. This hero's a beast. He doesn't even need boots right now. He's going for that early Helm of the Black Legion as well as he has the Mystic Vestments picked up. But he can just sit in this lane all day and just push this all by himself. It's going to take at least 2 heroes, if not even maybe 3, to get him down. But the beauty of that is when you have more heroes casting spells on you, that triggers your ultimate to get more charges and to be more powerful. So when you tank up like this, you can really do a 4-1 strategy very, very well with Balfagor on your team. And I love the hero, man. I really do. And the Garbagor skin is just even that much more fun. Yeah, it's a really fun hero to watch.
Yeah, of course, those 80-plus charges, that's the magic point for Balfagor in terms of what you really are looking for when it comes to his ultimate. But, I mean, to say that doesn't mean you need to absolutely wait for that. Obviously, it still does a good amount of damage at the lower levels as well. But the 80-plus charges, it does the damage, does the slow, and spawns the minions. In the meantime, at the top lane, they catch Aluna in the jungle. She was kind of wandering around a little bit, whether she was stacking or just simply being there to babysit Silhouette. She ends up getting caught out, and now they're going to commit to a full-on Terra push here, it looks like. They were a little bit earlier. They got it down to about 412 life, but now with this next creep wave, in comes the Elementals from Tempest, and this tower is going to start taking a bit of damage here in the very near future. You see a Silhouette, she says screw it, she's going to go to the jungle. Will they look to defend this though? We do see Pebbles, he is heading towards the top lane. There was no rune there, so he's definitely going to come up here to try to defend it, but it's not going to be nearly in time. Silhouette for the deny, nice job there. Invulnerability is going to be used actually, and this is going to be interesting here from TT Esports. Will they get the tower kill? Freeze there into Bubbles, and Bubbles takes a lot of damage right off the bat. He'll have to shell surf away. Is he going to survive? It looks like he's just close enough. Oh, what a stalagmite from Pebbles right there. Song of the Sea nuke gets a kill. Glacial Downpour will pick up the kill into Bubbles, but at what cost right now? Plague Rod will be picked off. The haste of Meraxis running in those slicks needs to be a little bit careful though. The stomp comes out, but he's just a little bit too late. Even with the ulti, would not be able to do nearly enough right there, and he will have to fall back. But while this is going on, look at Balfagor at the bottom lane, pushing it in by himself as he talked about the 401 push, and it's working out here for TT Esports. They are going to lose a tower very likely at the top as we see right here. Interesting fight there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, despite that tower going down, wow, there is the Sword of the High coming out for Wild Soul. So he's got an 11-minute Sword of the High. With a kill under his belt, with the tower pushed as well, that helps. He's going to have a really, really early mock. So I talked about Wild Soul not being as fast of a farmer as, say, someone in the jungle, I should say, as like, say, a Tempest is straight up farming. Well, he's proven me wrong. He's farming very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's going to be deadly here for this Legion squad. And you mentioned they don't have a hard carry. So they're going to have to kind of win this in the early game. But in the early game, when you have supports like Plague and Glacius who are, getting harassed by a Mock of Brilliance at, 14 minutes, that's going to make it really, really hard to withstand in these team fights.
Yeah. Well, as I also talked about, though, by the way, good job by Bubbles picking up the invisible rune. And actually, Morax is maybe in a little bit of trouble now as he's looking to perhaps turn this around. But Glacius also coming in, so a team skirmish coming out here. We do see Morax activates the ultimate, though, just before he gets stuck in the air, so absorbing a lot of damage. But in the end, he gets taken out. Great power throw snipe as well as a shell surf coming out from Bubbles. Tempest was running in, but not able to get there in time. Obviously, Balfagor was also here, but again, just not enough damage coming out for TT Esports to scare them off. And the kill happens. Something I was going to talk about, though, is we do see a portal key purchased on Pebbles, actually. So Limp now will have a portal key as well. That is scary, scary news here for TT Esports. But that's where they do continue to shine, though, is that team fight ability. But I think a lot of it will have to do with the fact of portal keys themselves, specifically on Tempest, of course, and really on Moraxis, actually, I think is even more important here. To get that powerful jump in from a hero like Moraxis would be very, very beneficial here for the Legion team. But grouping up as a team, even with solid farm on Wild Soul and Silhouette, I still think they have to be very worried themselves that it ain't going to be easy to stop, that's for sure, even with something like a Mock or Brilliance on that Wild Soul. But still, they are in the lead. That's the good thing, of course, for TDM. And I didn't pick up on wanted to talk about real quick as we do have initiation. So there's a portal key for Pebbles. Jumps on a Tempest, gets a kill. Leon Black's also going to fall. And that's a surprise factor coming into play right there. They had no clue Pebbles had a portal key. And 2 heroes die as a result. And what could be a tower kill on top of it now.
Yeah, things are looking really, really horrible for TD Esports. When you're drafting a team like this that has no carry, you need to be. It needs to be the complete opposite. You need to be 3,500 gold ahead. You need to be 6K experience ahead because you know that you're going to have a harder time in the late game. But right now, TDMs are looking very, very strong. I believe Wild Soul did pick up his mock. It is being delivered on the courier, so that's a 14-minute mock now coming out for him. very, very fast. That's going to help him if he decides to just keep farming. He's going to farm so fast. They're actually going to try to initiate or do something to this Miraxis up top. He does have a homecoming still. He does use it. The stun does come out. Does it miss?
No, it missed!
It actually almost looked like the tail end of it was
Yeah.
going to hit. That was very, very close. Living life on the edge is Slicks.
Yes, yes, he is. But look at where he ported. He didn't port back to base. He ports to the middle lane because you look at what TT Esports is doing. They're actually grouping up and coming back up top here. So Slicks is going to eventually join them. They're going to try to catch Wild Soul. I don't know if they're going to get close enough, though. Good job by the Bear, actually keeping them in place. The Bear will end up dying, so Wild Soul will have to, of course, respawn him, use that 120-second cooldown. But at least he stays alive. That's the important thing. But all 5 are up here now for TT Esports. So this is what I was talking about. This is where TT Esports can definitely shine, is if they're grouped up. Now, they do not have any portal keys yet, so that's unfortunately a big downside. And when you're dealing with a portal key, and especially on a hero like Pebbles, that could still be very, very dangerous here for TT Esports. But it's going to be all a matter of positioning, really, and whether or not they can initiate here on this Legion side. They're going to go for something here at this top lane. You see the Hellborn team, they're kind of setting themselves up, as you mentioned, Boo Boo with that Maka Brilliance here, so going to easily help take out those minions of both Tempest and Balfagor, actually, so a very powerful tool to have there. Bubbles does portal in with the Homecoming Stone, so they are ready to fight, actually. Silhouette, the only one not here. She's at the bottom lane. She's going to buy, actually, a Blessed Orb from the side shop, and she may very likely port in the near future. Probably just going to wait for some initiation to happen before she looks to ultimately port in. But the next creep wave going to be coming up right here. And we'll see if TT Esports really commits to pushing this tower. You see the Elemental going in the front lanes, just kind of scutting it out a little bit. But he'll sacrifice himself for the good of getting information. But here we go. Push is happening now for TT Esports. The minions come out from Balfagor. He's going to push all the way up to the tower even, taking out the Hell Cannon right there. But actually, tdM did a pretty solid job right here. We have Pebbles jumping in on Thames over there. Thames will fall right at the bat. The kill field coming on top of that. Balfagor has 80-plus charges. He's going to do It's garbage day, bitches. Here we go. The late level 80-plus charges comes out. Wild Soul and Bubbles able to easily tank it, though. The tower is still more than fine, and everyone is on the run now for TT Esports. Balfagor turning this around, though, making a kill on a Wild Soul, but he's going to commit so far to do so. He won't even get the kill. And the Entangle comes out, and down goes Balfagor. Miraxis is able to barely escape, but Plague Rider now, he's also getting caught out. Actually, Miraxis runs into Silhouette, and Silhouette will pick him off. And now Plague Rider, are you kidding me? A vote to concede coming out, and it looks like tdM is going to take the series 2-0. Wow, did not see that coming.
That push just made literally no sense at all. Yes, they were at a deficit. Yes, they knew if they drug this to the late game they were going to lose, but that was just asking to lose the game. They didn't have any big pickups on any of their heroes. They didn't have an Astrolabe pickup. They didn't have a barrier pickup. They didn't have portal keys on anybody.
Yeah.
All they had was a little bit of tankiness on Balfagor, and that was it. There was literally no reason to be pushing there. They were just asking to basically fail right there. So unfortunately, but again, tdM just looking so strong this series.
They really are, and of course, that will set them up with a rematch of Complexity yet again.
Yep.
In the winners bracket finals here in the brackets. And obviously the big talking point there, although the team is a little bit different, they were the only team to defeat Complexity in a game in recent history here with the DreamHoN Summer Championships and now this Redemption Tournament, of course. So you definitely got that to talk about. Looking forward to that matchup. But just talking a little bit more about this matchup, I mean, 100% agree with you. As I was commentating that fight, all I was kind of thinking to myself too was, why are they even here in the first place? It's clear that this isn't going to work. Why are they committing so much to it? You got to think that it was just simply a sign of frustration almost coming out from TT Esports, which honestly with a team like that is, from what my experience, a little bit rare to see. But clearly they just didn't really feel too confident there in game number 2. Maybe it's because of the way that it started. Obviously there was that Bloodless kill at the top lane on the Plague Rider, and then Bubbles getting the solo kill onto Balfagor, I'm sure didn't really set a good tone initially for TT Esports, but tdM had control of that game from the very beginning, and with their lineup, that shouldn't have been the case, as we kept stressing.
Yeah.
And it just became too much. So sure, maybe in the end tdM would have eventually won, but yeah, it seems like TT Esports almost kind of just gave it away there. It's like, we're kind of frustrated. We're just going to hope to make this happen. It clearly wasn't going to happen, though. And Trademark Esports just looking good yet again themselves. So Now, to really stress this, if you do look at the brackets, guys, this doesn't mean it's over for either one of these teams yet, especially TTE Sports, of course. So with this loss, that just means now they're in the losers bracket, which actually that isn't correct right there. So just a quick clarification. But if you go to DreamHoN.com, the brackets are on there as well. But it'll actually be TTE Sports will play the winner of 15 and Pikachu, and then Orange is actually in the bottom portion there. They're going to play the winner of Q Squad 357 and Dendy's Jungle Divos. So they will not be playing. In fact, there you go. Oh, no, it's actually opposite. But anyway, almost correct there. We got Killer Orange doing some on-the-fly production. But so yeah, it's actually switched around. So TTE is supposed to face the winner of that series of 15 Pikachu, and then Orange will play the winner of Q Squad 357 and Dendy's Jungle Divos. But anyway, so they're definitely still in it. Of course, every team, actually going to stress that, is still technically in this tournament. But Trademark Esports and Complexity, that will be your winners bracket final matchup. And actually, I wanted to clarify on when that is set to take place. That is set to take place on the 29th, actually, the day before the grand finals. So that will be on the Saturday, will be the winners bracket finals this coming Saturday.
So big games back-to-back, basically.
Yeah.
Winners bracket finals and grand finals the next day.
Yeah. Well, it's actually going to be the losers bracket finals followed by the winners bracket finals.
Okay.
But that doesn't make sense. It would be the winners bracket finals followed by the losers bracket finals, and then the grand finals the next day. So that weekend, man, I mean, talk about a crazy weekend here for competitive Heroes of New Earth. This next weekend is going to be absolutely insane. A lot of best of the threes, a lot of it's on the line. But yeah, that'll do it for the first match today with Trademark defeating TTE Sports.
Yeah, well played by TDM overall. I loved it, especially in the game two when you're losing. They basically won all 3 lanes plus having a jungler who had, by the way, a Sword of the High at 11 minutes.
Yeah,
so
no big deal.
Silva getting the kill, getting a very very awesome bloodlust there onto Leon Black. That was huge. I mean, that was just I want to say that wasn't even risky. That was just calculated. The way that he was playing that, it was really well done. Zai getting the kill on Moravis in the bottom lane, a suicide. You got both of those lanes winning, and then mid lane was kind of volatile. That was back and forth, but again, I still give the edge to Pebbles and Luna. It was just really well played by TDM overall, but I'm really excited to watch them play Complex in the winners bracket finals, as well as we are actually also still casting today. We're casting, who is that again?
It ain't over just yet. We're going to
right.
be casting Pikachu versus 15 here in the losers bracket, and as I stressed earlier, it will be our first elimination match of this tournament stage. What I mean by that, of course, they're in the losers bracket, so if they lose there, they are absolutely done. They'll be finishing in that bottom portion of the bracket. So Pikachu versus 15, that is coming up in just about an hour from now is when it's set to happen. So with that said, we are actually going to go offline here. We're going to take a little bit of a break ourselves. Definitely some time to grab some food yourself and have a good snack or whatever, but then look forward to coming back in about an hour from now. That is set to happen at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2100 Central European Time. So 15 versus Pikachu. The winner will play TTE Sports, who just lost right here. So that's what you can look forward to. But again, that's about an hour from now. So for now, we are going to be wrapping things up here. Any final words from you, Tralfamador?
Nope, just stick around, guys. Go grab something to eat, and we're going to have, yet again, another great matchup here coming out in just under an hour. So
stay tuned, guys, for that. Stick around, I should say, because the stream, again, will be going offline. But we'll be back then. Once again, I'm Breaking CPK. Joining me is Tralfamador. Shout out to Killer Orange as well, our producer. And have fun for now. Tune back in an hour from now. We will be back. Tell your friends, tell your family. It's going to be a lot of fun. 15 versus Pikachu coming up. Congrats once again to Trademark Esports. We'll see you then, guys.
can help the environment.